Our story begins with a legendary war between light and shadow. Since the age of myth, the children of day and night have been locked in a bitter, never-ending struggle. Amidst the chaos, a flamboyant villain named Ralph emerges, standing triumphantly over a fallen beast. He mockingly declares that even the rot in hell dreams of reaching the heavens. With a massive blast, Ralph turns the bank into his personal stage. Even as the police surround him, the madman revels in the destruction, treating the entire catastrophe like a show. Facing the final stand of the trembling guards, Ralph shows nothing but contempt. He effortlessly hurls a lethal energy sphere, silencing any resistance with a devastating explosion. The scene shifts as Ralph's crew ruthlessly loots the area and hijacks a school bus. Faced with heartless criminals, the terrified hostages can only beg for mercy at gunpoint. Ralph indulges in the scent of stolen cash, dreaming of building a twisted theme park of horror. But his celebration is cut short as the situation starts to take an unexpected turn. The thugs realize they've captured a high-profile hostage, the governor's daughter. They mock the terrified child, completely unaware that their luck is about to run out. Just as the situation reaches a breaking point, our boy in his school uniform steps in. One look at his calm demeanor, and you know the villain show is about to be cancelled. Faced with a hostage situation, our boy makes a powerful entrance. He grabs the culprit, demanding the hostage's release as gunfire erupts throughout the scene. Just then, the villain Ralph the Clown makes his flashy appearance. However, our boy isn't playing games, sending a lackey crashing through a glass wall with a single, devastating punch. Though the clown tries to resist, his efforts are futile against our boy's overwhelming strength. He effortlessly clears out the trash, radiating a terrifying presence. The scene reveals our boy's true identity, S-rank hero Cashin Lee. Facing his terrified enemy, he flashes a dangerous smirk and even takes a moment to unmask. Losing patience with these scumbags, our boy unleashes his destructive fire powers. He charges up a massive blast, ready to burn every last one of them to ashes. Being a hero isn't easy. Yesterday's battle sparked a public outcry over excessive force. Director Schiller is far from pleased, and the tension in the room is palpable. Frustrated by the accusations, our boy tries to defend his actions as life-saving. However, Schiller only cares about the escaped villains and the organization's public image. Faced with his superior's harsh lecture, our boy can only clench his fists in silence. Against cold regulations, his brand of justice feels increasingly out of place. After a harsh lecture from Schiller, who compared his actions to those of a villain, our boy leaves the office feeling frustrated and misunderstood. Before he can process his frustration, his phone vibrates. It's his mentor, Jeff, calling from Rhodes, Greaseand. By the sound of it, things are urgent. Traveling halfway across the world, our boy arrives in sunny Rhodes. Sitting at a seaside cafe, he enjoys a quiet moment while waiting for his mentor's arrival. The scenery brings back memories of their childhood at the orphanage, where a young Jeff used to dazzle everyone by bringing dolls to life with his powers. Back then, our boy was just a kid dreaming of being a hero who fights villains, and those peaceful moments with friends were truly the best days of his life. Snapping back to reality, our boy puts down his glass with a sigh. He misses those carefree days, knowing he's now deep within a web of complex shadows. As night falls, the meeting time passes with no sign of Jeff. Just as our boy starts to worry, a blood-soaked and agonized figure stumbles into view. Panicked by Jeff's critical injuries, our boy tries to help, but Jeff insists on handing over a mysterious glowing necklace. A sense of impending doom fills the air. Deep in the shadows of Rhodes, our boy finds his mentor, Jeff, clinging to life. Despite Jeff's desperate pleas to run, there's no way he's leaving his mentor behind. Suddenly, a figure lunges from the dark with a lethal blade. In a final act of sacrifice, Jeff shoves our boy out of harm's way, taking the brutal blow himself. Blood splatters across the ground as Jeff collapses. Paralyzed by grief and shock, our boy can only cry out his mentor's name in a moment of pure heartbreak. Consumed by fury, our boy locks eyes on the fleeing shadow. Fueled by raw vengeance, he charges after the killer, determined to make them pay for Jeff's life. The chase leads to a moonlit cliff. Facing the mysterious figure, our boy ignites his flames, vowing to incinerate the murderer right where he stands. But when the figure turns around, our boy is stunned. It's his old comrade, Jack. Instead of remorse, Jack coldly claims he was simply disposing of a traitor. Lyra joins the fray, revealing proof of Jeff's supposed betrayal. To make matters worse, she declares that our boy is now a suspect and a target as well. Former comrades Jack and his allies cornered our boy, accusing his mentor Jeff of treason. Faced with this baseless accusation, our boy furiously retorted, insisting Jeff would never do such a thing. Meanwhile, Layla began charging her crystal abilities. Jack issued a final warning, telling our boy to act like a psyker and be calm. However, our boy merely smirked, clearly having decided he wouldn't tolerate it anymore. To act like a psyker, our boy chose the most direct response. He erupted in flames and charged, declaring, "Then I'll kill you." A fierce battle had just begun. Jack and his mysterious ally counterattacked simultaneously, unleashing powerful energy. Amidst the violent clash of blades, the battle intensified. Jack summoned 6 shadow blades, while Layla unleashed a chilling crystal blast. Together, they showcased the true power of top-tier psykers, determined to completely suppress our boy. Facing a double assault, our boy let out a roar. Despite being surrounded, he refused to back down, but the relentless attacks left him battered and clearly impacted. Severely wounded, our boy collapsed to his knees, bleeding profusely. He finally realized Layla's ability was long-range sniping. Jack and Layla seized the opportunity to demand his surrender, threatening a headshot next time. Yet, a look of fierce determination flashed in our boy's eyes. He roared, "Go to hell," and blazing flames erupted from his palm, ready to make a desperate, all-or-nothing move against their betrayal. With a deafening roar, Cashin unleashed hellfire, triggering a cataclysmic explosion that consumed everything. He seized the chance to leap from the cliff, disappearing into the flames and smoke, leaving behind only chaos and an unknown fate. With a gasp, the once mighty S-rank hero Cashin plummets into the abyss, his body covered in blood, flames swirling around him. All that remains in his mind is a burning hatred for his betrayers, and a fierce desire for revenge. He cannot die like this. But the scene abruptly shifts to an ordinary men's restroom. A faucet drips rhythmically, when suddenly, the door opens to reveal a figure slumped by the toilet, seemingly lifeless. "This is bad. He's not breathing." The students who found the body immediately panic. But just as they're losing it, the lifeless body suddenly twitches. Our boy jolts up from beside the toilet, gasping for air, his eyes glowing gold. Before he can figure out what's happening, the mysterious blue pendant on his chest begins to subtly glow. Huh? He looks around, utterly confused by the unfamiliar surroundings. Didn't he fall from a cliff? Why is he in this place? It's not until he looks into the mirror, seeing a completely unfamiliar young face and hearing a different voice, that our boy is utterly stunned. What's going on? He was an adult, so why does he look like a kid? As the title, Valentio Kill, appears, our boy finally regains consciousness. He's talking with Moros, confirming a crucial fact. He, Cashin Lee, has truly been resurrected. Learning he'd died and come back to life was a huge shock. Our boy's mind was a mess. How could he be alive again after everything? As our boy processed this shocking truth, Moros dropped another bombshell. His mentor, Jeff, had given him the pendant for protection. Recalling the events in Rhodes, our boy wondered if Jeff's words were true. Moros then showed him a vision of an ancient sword, hinting at its extraordinary origin. Our boy was skeptical. How could Moros know about events from so long ago? Moros arrogantly declared itself an ancient and mighty soul. But our boy wasn't easily fooled. He pulled out his phone, clearly still doubting if Moros was trustworthy. As our boy pondered Moros's words, a news article on his phone froze him cold. The headline screamed, "Corrupt hero Cashin and his black money." It claimed he was corrupt and his mentor, Jeff, had sacrificed himself battling him. Our boy's hand trembled, clutching the phone, showing such blatant lies. Instant fury made our boy's veins bulge as he cursed the Lampas bastards who betrayed him. They not only framed him, but pinned Jeff's death on him. His uncontrollable rage unleashed raw power, and our boy screamed in agony, his body covered in blue electricity and cracks, on the verge of collapsing. Then, a drastic change occurred. Our boy's arms and eyes became encased in blue-purple energy armor, crackling with electricity and sharp spikes. This sudden transformation utterly shocked him. He stared in disbelief at his alien appearance. What kind of power was this? The scene shifts, as if rewinding time. In a school corner, bullies impatiently wait. Soon, our boy, in his original Kongwu body, ran up, breathless, while the others taunted him. This appears to be Kongwu's daily bullying before Cashin's transmigration. The bullies questioned Kongwu if he checked the bathroom, but he insisted no one was there. No police, no ambulance. Faced with Kongwu's vague answers, they were bewildered. Kongwu merely sat dazed on his bed, his eyes distant, as if he'd just endured a massive shock, everything feeling profoundly unreal. The scene flashes back to a past bullying incident, a purple-haired guy preying on a student, while our boy calmly holds a baseball bat, his eyes unreadable. Beside them, Jeff cries out in pain, seemingly helpless against such violence, asking our boy, "What are you gonna do about him?" Yet, the cruel aggressor shows no mercy, stabbing a neck with a baseball bat. With a twisted smile, he chillingly remarks, "What do you think? Screw him." This kind of violence, it seems, is merely all over again, a recurring nightmare. Snapping back to reality, our boy is still grappling with his reincarnation as a villain. He retreats to the rooftop to clear his head, but Moros follows, taunting him with its arrogant tone, remarking on his smart move to hide. Moros explains that our boy was supposed to die, but his return altered destiny. The true Gangwoo was meant to be reborn as a villain with power to destroy the world. Now, this apocalyptic power has been passed on to our boy instead. The former S-rank hero completely breaks down, laughing hysterically before being slammed by dark power. He roars at Moros, "Damn it! Why the hell did you bring me back?" Moros calmly advises him to control his emotions. Moros further explains that villains are beings driven by powerful, irrational desires, and our boy must now be feeling that malicious intent deep in his mind. Moros warns that if his rage grows, it might become too much to handle. Our boy abruptly stands, cutting off Moros' warning and shouts, "So I'm a villain?" Then, his eye flares with blue energy, as if he's made a decision. "In that case, you must live on." Moros calmly tells our boy that this is what Jeff would have wanted him to do. Hearing his mentor's name, our boy whirls around, questioning Moros in shock. Moros then reveals Jeff's last words, regretting involving our boy and entrusting his final hope to this pendant. Our boy is huddled in the corner, his expression complicated, but he finally concedes, seemingly making a difficult decision deep down, with the mysterious soul Moros quietly accompanying him. The mysterious soul Moros, who has been accompanying our boy, is now speaking with him. Our boy is clearly skeptical of Moros' true identity and power, directly asking, "Can you really bring someone back to life?" Our boy wasn't having any of the bully's nonsense. With a swift move, he sent the blonde bully crashing down. This sudden turn of events stunned the purple-haired bully and his glasses-wearing accomplice, who then furiously threatened our boy. But our boy wasn't about to give them an opening. His eyes narrowed sharply. As one bully swung a baseball bat, he swiftly dodged, snatched the weapon, and landed a heavy blow, taking down another thug cleanly. In the blink of an eye, both of the purple-haired bully's cronies were down. Seeing his companions sprawled on the ground, the purple-haired bully's face was etched with shock, clearly not expecting our boy to handle them so easily. Our boy stood over the glasses-wearing bully, looking down and asking, "Do you feel any guilt bullying others?" The purple-haired bully, still defiant, scoffed, dismissing guilt with contempt and sarcasm, as if mocking our boy for interfering. If words wouldn't work, then fists would have to do the teaching. The purple-haired bully underestimated our boy, who, without a word, became a blur of motion, instantly clashing with him at speeds almost impossible to track. Our boy's offensive was relentless punch, dodge, punch, a fluid series of moves that left the purple-haired bully no chance to retaliate. With several dull thuds, the bully was struck hard, his face contorted in pain as he crashed to the ground. The purple-haired bully curled up in pain on the ground, and our boy once again loomed over him, asking, "Now? Do you feel any guilt?" But the bully was stubborn. Even beaten, he savagely grabbed our boy's collar, spouting threats. However, just as our boy prepared to give the stubborn bully a real lesson, a familiar voice suddenly spoke, grabbing the purple-haired bully from behind. "Don't you think he's had enough?" It was the red-haired youth, Kim Yukin. His arrival seemed to complicate this chaotic situation even further. In a chaotic brawl, a purple-haired man brutally attacks another black-haired man, unleashing a flurry of powerful punches that sent him flying, yelling, "You bastard!" Just then, red-haired Yukin swiftly intervenes, shouting, "That's enough," stopping the purple-haired aggressor and pinning the fallen black-haired man, declaring the fight over. It turns out our boy was the one struck, appearing disoriented by the rapid blows. Yukin, with a surprised expression, grabs his arms, seemingly trying to understand the situation. However, the conflict isn't over. Yukin, displaying incredible speed, attacks our boy again, sending him hurtling backward with powerful strikes, escalating the intensity. Amidst the high-speed chase, Moros' spirit appears, warning Cashin, "He's fast. He's a psyker. It's too dangerous to face him head-on in your human form." Our boy is visibly shocked. The fierce struggle continues with both moving at blinding speed, the air thick with tension. Our boy is injured, showing visible blood, yet Yukin remains relentless, pushing him back with determination. During the fight, our boy senses Yukin's extraordinary power, thinking, this guy, he's a psyker? Yukin, recognizing the futility, calls for a halt, stating, nothing good will come of fighting each other. Yukin calmly points out the blood on our boy's face, attempting to de-escalate. However, our boy, with a grim expression, simply shoves his hands into his pockets, still clearly on edge and assessing the situation. Meanwhile, the three previous attackers are shown beaten and bewildered, wondering who this formidable opponent is and how one person managed to take them all down by himself. Yukin glances at our boy once more, a thoughtful and slightly pained expression on his face, as if this sudden encounter resonated deeply within him. Later, our boy attempts to access something online, only to find his ID has been completely deleted by Lampas, rendering him locked out. He's frustrated, acknowledging this unwelcome development. I assumed as much, but this really sucks. Our boy then turns to Moros, asking how he knew Yukin was a psyker, wondering if it's the pink-hair guy they just met, still processing the recent events. After that brief encounter, Moros claims he could sense the enemy's true power. Calling himself the Mighty Soul, he explains that his power analysis allows him to dig deep into any target's secrets. Moros pushes our boy to embrace his villain form, arguing it's the most efficient way to grow. Though reluctant, he knows that in his current state, this dark power is the only weapon he has left. The first lesson is mastering emotions like anger. Thinking of the betrayal by Lampas, our boy explodes in a fit of rage, but Moros quickly points out that raw screaming isn't the same as focused power. Meanwhile, the heroes are on the move. Driver and Yukin discuss their next target, a notorious villain known as Blaster. This guy is a specialist in explosives, and has already left a trail of destruction behind him. Yukin is dead serious about wiping out every villain in his path, but Driver keeps things light, munching on a sandwich while reminding the young trainee to stay focused and back him up. Back with our boy, Moros unveils a holographic status screen. It turns out Gangu is classified as a potential apocalypse-level villain with darkness abilities and a very handy self-healing skill. Our boy is shocked to see his wounds healing in real time. But as he notices a locked hidden skill on the interface, he realizes his journey into the dark side has only just begun. Looking at his status screen, our boy is totally shocked. How does he only have 300 magic points left? It's a massive drop from his prime. Moros chimes in with a warning. In this weak body, he can only use his main skills 3 times a day before overloading. With so many restrictions, our guy decides he needs to test his limits. He heads to a quiet alley to try out his Shadow Slicer, and the power is incredible. One diving strike literally shatters the pavement. To his surprise, the shadow isn't just for destruction, it can materialize into a physical blade as sharp as real steel. After testing it against solid metal, he realizes the potential Jeff saw in this body was no joke. Next, our boy tries a partial transformation, coating his arms in glowing blue energy claws. He looks incredibly menacing, but Moros just has to ruin the moment by roasting his fashion sense. Walking home, our boy's mind is heavy. He might be a top-tier hero on the inside, but he can't ignore the family ties Gangu left behind, especially his sister, who is the one source of warmth in his cold quest for revenge. But the peace is short-lived. A massive roar echoes through the air as a skyscraper erupts in flames. The sudden explosion sends the busy street into total chaos, and our guy immediately senses something is wrong. It's a villain. The crowd screams in terror. Worse yet, word spreads that the attacker has taken hostages, including a child. Our boy's eyes turn cold. His hero instincts won't let him just walk away. There's no time to lose. Our boy sprints toward the danger at full speed. Even as Moros warns him that this enemy is far beyond a common thug, his resolve doesn't flicker. The path to becoming the strongest villain hero starts right now. If the rules of justice are too restrictive, our boy decides he'll just play the villain himself. Even as Moros warns him about making enemies too early, his resolve for revenge remains unshaken. With a sudden burst of speed, our boy arrives at a derelict building. His eyes are filled with determination. He's ready to dive headfirst into whatever danger awaits him to do what's right. Moros wonders if our boy is still acting like a hero, but he shuts that down quickly. It's not about the past, there are hostages involved, and looking the other way just isn't in his DNA. Looking at his back, Moros recalls how Jeff used to speak about him. Despite his hot temper, Jeff always knew Cashin had the kindest heart, and that's why he chose him as his successor. Transform, Cashin! With full backing from Moros, our boy lets his powers explode. The legendary hero's strength returns in a surge of energy, leaving the surrounding building trembling in its wake. Inside the wreckage, a woman pleads for mercy amidst the shattered glass. A sinister figure toys with a dangerous device, and you can tell things are about to get very ugly very fast. The kidnapper's twisted grin is enough to give anyone chills, as he forces his victims into a sick game. With a crackling explosive in his hand, the tension reaches a breaking point. While the chaos unfolds elsewhere, we catch a glimpse of a mysterious youth at a gas station. He looks calm for now, but little does he know how much his world is about to change this evening. After a battle, Kim Yukin found himself wondering about the mysterious figure he'd faced, realizing he didn't even know his name. Just then, his phone vibrated. He answered the call, and on the other end was Driver, one of the Ville's own leaders. Driver seemed to have witnessed something deeply shocking, catching Yukin's attention. It turned out Driver was witnessing dazzling fireworks exploding in the night sky, leaving him speechless with excitement. However, the red-haired man before him mockingly claimed this was merely an appetizer, promising an even more resplendent show. The red-haired man laughed wickedly, announcing that the next fireworks would be lit by Driver's beloved family. He'd already prepared chairs with a bound woman and a young man, whose appearance eerily resembled our boy. Just as the red-haired man prepared to torture his victims with chains and red crystals, a loud boom shattered the silence. A wicked grin spread across his face. He knew an uninvited guest had arrived for the feast. He challenged this guest as red crystal devices around them began to spark. His answer came in the form of our boy's fierce charge, radiating blue energy, smashing through the glass wall. With a deafening explosion, the red-haired man was blasted away by this sudden force. Our boy emerged unscathed, a hint of weariness in his eyes, yet his resolve was stronger than ever. He quickly checked on the bound driver and the woman, confirming their safety. However, Moros suddenly warned him, and our boy realized a glowing red bomb was strapped to his chest. Facing this sudden crisis, our boy's eyes sharpened instantly. Blue electricity crackled around him as he powerfully kicked out, ready to confront and neutralize this deadly threat with his full might. A massive explosion rips through the building, sending debris flying and terrifying nearby civilians, who wonder why the heroes haven't shown up. However, a red-haired villain emerges from the rubble, not only unscathed but complaining that someone crashed his party uninvited, ruining his fireworks display, before striking a battle pose. It turns out the true uninvited guest is our boy. The red-haired villain, seeing his target, grins menacingly and focuses his attack, initiating an intense battle. Our boy swiftly retaliates with a glowing blue blade, but the enemy's attack inflicts immense pain, leaving cracks and blood on his face. Seeing an opening, the red-haired villain tries to make a quick escape, but our boy is faster, smashing directly into him with a burst of blue energy. The powerful impact sends the villain crashing to the ground, bleeding and trembling, yet he still tries to gather energy for a counterattack. "Oh no you don't," our boy roars, his electrified hand gripping the villain tightly, warning him with a fierce declaration, "Once bitten, twice shy, you bastard." With a final, furious roar, our boy unleashes his full power, a devastating onslaught of raw energy. Yet, even this immense power brings a brutal backlash, forcing our boy to his knees, but with an eerie grin, he screams for more. More! On the brink of collapse, Moroz's voice echoes in his mind, urging Cashin to awaken further, as a deeper power seems to stir within. As the battle settles, our boy collapses onto the rubble, gasping for air. Just as his consciousness begins to fade, a mysterious voice echoes in his mind. Moros has finally established a deep connection with him. Fury had nearly pushed our guy over the edge, leaving his eyes glowing in two different colors. Moros warns him sternly that if he hadn't regained control in time, he would have lost himself to the darkness entirely. Pushing through the pain, our boy grits his teeth to stay conscious. Ignoring his defeated opponent, he ensures the hostages are safe before vanishing into the shadows with Moros, leaving only a lonely silhouette behind. Soon, emergency services secure the area, safely rescuing the trapped mother and child. No one would guess that behind this villain clash was actually a desperate act of heroism from the shadows. Yukin Kim from Lampas arrives and picks up a tattered teddy bear. Hearing the strange rumors about a villain saving civilians, the justice-driven young hero is left in deep thought, sensing a mystery unfolding. To uncover the truth, Yukin orders a check on the surveillance footage. Meanwhile, the abandoned bear remains in the ruins as the true savior disappears into the vast city night. However, our guy finds no pride in his actions. He's haunted by the look of pure terror in the eyes of the mother and child he saved. To the world, he is still nothing more than a dangerous villain. Faced with Moroz's grim warning about losing his mind, our boy looks up at the stars in exhaustion. As a villain with a hero's soul, he wonders how long he can stay sane in this swamp of revenge. Our boy, sitting on a bench, contemplates his villain identity displayed on his phone, a hint of inner conflict. Moroz, ever curious, asks about the message. It's a reminder from his sister Yuri to come home for dinner, prompting Moroz to ask if he'll go to Gangdu's house. The scene then shifts to a tall apartment building, perhaps the siblings' home, as our boy's stomach lets out a timely grumble. Meanwhile, in a hidden location, Driver, Yukin, and others watch surveillance footage of our boy saving people. Driver scoffs at him, while Yukin looks utterly shocked, unable to reconcile his image of a former hero with these villainous actions. As night falls and city lights begin to glow, the scene returns to our boy's apartment building. Our boy arrives home at apartment 701, where his sister has already prepared a hearty dinner, carefully covered on the dining table. He pulls a cute note from the meal containers, a message from his sister Yuri. Remember to heat up the soup and rice before you eat them. It playfully ends with, "You're late for dinner, Cashin." Looks like his sister has a small issue with his tardiness. Our boy awkwardly apologizes to his sister, who stands by the door. She feigns strictness, announcing, "No dinner for tardy kids," clearly intending a small punishment for his late return. Just then, his mentor Jeff's figure appears before him, secretly offering a piece of bread and warning him not to let his sister catch him. Our boy eagerly devours the bread. After eating his fill, he looks at the note again, his expression growing serious. Despite his sister's punishment, she ultimately didn't let him go hungry. Our boy sits at the dining table, a delicious dinner meticulously prepared by his sister laid out before him, finally ready to enjoy this home-cooked meal. Sipping the warm soup, our boy breaks into a long-lost smile, sighing, "It's good. It's been so long since I last had a meal someone made for me." Moroz watches him happily from the side, enjoying the heartwarming moment. As the alarm beeps loudly, a new day begins. Our boy wakes from his slumber, blinks his eyes open, ready to face today's challenges. It's morning, and our boy goes through his usual routine, but his mind is far from calm. Reincarnated, he struggles to accept living as someone else, and there's no going back. He thought he'd feel better after a good night's sleep, but reality hit hard. If only he could turn back time. Just then Moroz, residing within him, appeared, greeting our boy with a touch of sarcasm. "Good morning, Cashin." But for our boy, what was so good about it? With a heavy heart, our boy slung his bag on, ready for school. Behind him, Moroz slowly asked, "Off to school?" At the door, his sister Yuri told him to say goodbye to Gangwoo. Despite her kind concern, our boy, in Gangwoo's body, felt incredibly awkward, as he was merely borrowing this identity. His sister handed him a new Panda debit card, reminding him it was for his allowance and not to be wasted. Our boy took the card, and before she could finish, boldly made a request. "Hey, Yuri. Can I get an advance on next month's allowance?" At his words, his sister froze, then asked bewildered, "You just got last month's allowance. Why do you need an advance already?" It turned out the original Gangwoo was often extorted by school bullies, forcing him to constantly ask his sister for money. To resolve his brother's predicament, his sister had set up this dedicated debit card for him. Finally understanding his sister's painstaking efforts, our boy felt a mix of emotions and quickly thanked her. "So that's why." "Thank you, Yuri." As our boy was about to leave, Yuri suddenly stopped him. After a careful look, she explained in surprise, "You cut your hair. Wow, you look so much better." He felt a bit awkward. His sister continued to nag about how he never listened before, wondering what made him change his mind. Our boy mumbled a few excuses and quickly slipped into the elevator. Meanwhile, at the school gate, students were huddled together murmuring. It turned out Sechin had a bruised face, looking like he'd been severely beaten. It seems a drama is about to unfold this new semester. Back at school, the blonde bully is losing his mind over something on his phone. He's lashing out at everyone, clearly still fuming from his recent humiliation. Amidst his tantrum, a hand grips his shoulder. Our boy steps in with a chilling gaze, calmly asking one simple question. "Where's my seat?" The bully freezes, breaking out in a cold sweat as our boy calmly takes his seat. Ignoring the shocked whispers and stares, he acts like nothing happened. During break, the class is buzzing with news about the blood drain killer. The gruesome details of victims having their blood drained have everyone on edge. Listening to the fearful chatter, our boy stays silent while checking his phone. He knows that a monster like Blood Drain is far beyond anything these kids can imagine. Elsewhere, the humiliated bully meets his crew outside. They mock him for getting beaten by a loser, while discussing how to get professional backup for their revenge. The hired thug has a truly sinister vibe. After taking the payment, he asks with a twisted grin whether they want the target broken, or just plain dead. As the dismissal bell rang, the bustling school hallways quickly filled with students packing their bags, ready to embrace their after-school freedom. Just as our boy Gwon Gangwoo was about to leave, the red-haired model student Yukon Kim suddenly called out to him, concernedly asking how the wound he'd given him was healing. Despite the bandage, our boy was inwardly pondering Yukon's question. Moro's appeared, reminding him that his wound was already healed and questioning why he was still pretending to be hurt. Our boy realized that if his wound healed too quickly, Yukon might grow suspicious, potentially exposing his secret. To avoid this, he had to maintain the injured facade, a caution Moro's readily approved. Yukon then questioned our boy's intentions, asking if he sought compensation. Our boy, unhurried, countered by asking if he'd accept something else instead, a hint of deeper meaning in his words. However, Yukon simply scoffed, flatly rejecting our boy's offer. Both turned away, as if their conversation had reached its swift conclusion. Just as our boy turned to leave, Yukon unexpectedly asked for his name. Upon hearing Gangagwon, a flicker of complexity crossed Yukon's eyes, as if he were deep in thought. After school, our boy walked alone, his mind troubled, replaying his conversation with Yukon. Moro's, sensing his unease, instantly pinpointed the source of his current vexation, that psyker kid. Moro's continued to describe Yukon Kim in detail. A tall, handsome flame user with excellent grades and a strong sense of justice, a very promising psyker. To our boy's astonishment, Moro's revealed that Yukon's revered top-tier psyker was none other than the former flame user Cashin Lee. This shocking truth left our boy utterly stunned. As our boy was still processing the shocking news, Moro suddenly noticed some little brats persistently tailing them. Clearly, our boy's every move was being watched. From a street corner, a shadowy group of men confirms information on their phones. The orange-haired guy grins, satisfied that his informant is finally making progress. Snapping a match, he eyes his companions, talking about the little sucker they're tracking. Meanwhile, another duo appears in the alley. The yellow-haired man with a hat spots their target heading into the Ville Zone, growing agitated. Before he can react, the orange-haired group from earlier silently appears behind them, startling him so badly he gasps for air. The orange-haired man grabs the yellow-haired guy's collar, demanding to know where the target went. Terrified by the sudden appearance of these tough characters, the yellow-haired man tremblingly points in a direction, dropping his phone. Following the yellow-haired man's direction, the orange-haired group spots a faint clue amidst the bustling alley. Without hesitation, they sprint forward, afraid of losing their target again. Gazing at the increasingly gloomy alley ahead, the yellow-haired man suddenly realizes they're rushing into Ville Zone, a dangerous hub for villains. But it's too late to warn them, as the group vanishes into the narrow alley with a whoosh. However, when they breathlessly reached the end of the alley, they found a dead end. The target seemed to have vanished into thin air, leaving the trackers completely stunned and confused. As they stood confused, a dark figure suddenly lunged from the shadows, delivering a powerful kick that knocked one of them down. Immediately after, a brown-haired man appeared, angrily asking the intruders, "What tricks are you little punks playing at? Are you looking for me?" Just as the brown-haired man and the trackers faced off, footsteps echoed from deeper in the alley. All eyes were drawn to him. Our boy, in his school uniform, with a calm yet sharp gaze, slowly walked forward and stated, "If you're looking for me, I'm here." Our boy looked down at the group before him, and the atmosphere instantly grew tense. The massive shadow behind him seemed to foreshadow the arrival of a greater storm. As conflict brewed in the alley, a surveillance camera from an unknown height silently locked onto our boy, transmitting the live feed to a mysterious control room filled with monitors. In the control room, two unidentified figures keenly observed our boy's every move on screen. The woman with glowing goggles smirked, softly remarking, "Oh look, a guest." After a warning page, a determined young man stands before a dilapidated building, gazing steadily forward, as if an impending conflict is his destiny. Sure enough, a group of thugs quickly surrounded him, their orange-haired leader brazenly taunting. Yet, our boy, Kwon Kong-woo in his school uniform, merely glanced their way, a faint golden glint in his eyes. Then, the red-tipped hair bully swaggered forward, aggressively pointing and demanding our boy kneel, even starting a countdown. Tension filled the air, but our boy remained motionless, hands in his pockets. Before the bully finished speaking, he lunged with a punch, but our boy was faster, striking back instantly. He blinded the bully, then grabbed the orange-haired thug by his hair, slamming him to the ground with a powerful smash. Seeing their comrade subdued in an instant, the remaining thugs were terrified. Our boy calmly looked at the fallen orange-haired man, lightly admonishing him. "You shouldn't stick your face out like that to an enemy." The remaining lackeys, enraged, charged forward, one with glasses roaring. But our boy simply shifted his body, easily dodging the furious punch. Just then, the red-tipped hair bully, whose eyes were just blinded, miraculously recovered. His eyes glowing red, he roared, unleashing a barrage of punches and kicks, slamming our boy to the ground. Our boy gasped in pain as the bully stood over him, sneering victoriously. However, the bully's triumph was short-lived, for in the next second, he was the one on the ground. Our boy surged up, pinning him underfoot, crushing him without mercy. After dealing with the most arrogant bully, our boy turned, his sharp gaze fixed on the still-shocked thugs. A provocative smirk played on his lips. "What? Not going to try me?" Our boy's eyes are fierce, a fresh scratch on his face, clearly from an intense fight. Yet, spectators aren't worried. Their opponent is a national Muay Thai runner-up, and they expect our boy to lose badly. Just as everyone expected the Muay Thai expert to dominate, the scene dramatically flipped. The opponent lay defeated, while our boy stood calmly, his gaze chilling, as if the brawl was just a warm-up. In the gym, our boy's training intensity is astounding. With one punch, he sends his opponent reeling, making even the trainer shout, "Ease up, dude, you might actually kill him." Just then, a blue-haired man with an eye patch entered the training ground. Seeing our boy, a rookie, fighting without protective gear, he frowned. The trainer chuckled, explaining the rookie insisted he didn't need it. The blue-haired powerhouse then calmly uttered a name that stunned everyone, Cashin Lee. Our boy was the top-class close combat specialist, undefeated in one-on-one fights. Spectators gasped. Isn't he a flame user? How is he a fighter now? Unfazed by the shock, our boy delivered a devastating punch that utterly defeated his opponent. The orange-haired man was sent flying, spitting blood, as our boy watched him with a cold, unwavering gaze. Unable to accept defeat, the opponent suddenly lashed out, unleashing his fury on another spectator. He grabbed the person's neck, eyes glowing red, letting out a beastly roar, plunging the scene into chaos. Our boy watched the defeated clown, who lost his mind, commenting coldly, "These punks don't know their place." The blue-haired powerhouse also pondered, if only they knew their opponent's strength was on a whole other level, how would they dare be so arrogant? With resolute red eyes, our boy silently vowed to become stronger, no matter the cost, until even those bastards from Lampas would cower before him. Just then, a massive sound echoed from above the city. Several psyker, terrified, watched a colossal mechanical figure in the sky, screaming, "It's a villain," and fleeing for their lives. The one making such a grand entrance was none other than the infamous villain leader Driver. Driver, clad in mechanical armor, hovered above the city's tall buildings at night, casting a colossal shadow that intensified the panic of those fleeing below. He seemed to relish the chase, even taunting the scrambling figures. Our boy and Moros noticed the suddenly appearing B-rank villain. Moros questioned, "So that's Driver?" No sooner had he spoken than Driver's mechanical boot landed with a powerful impact, announcing his arrival. Driver, shouldering his spear-like weapon, grinned at our boy, saying he thought our boy was in trouble and came to help, only to find the situation reversed. Our boy remained unimpressed, prompting Driver to continue his monologue, mocking our boy's lack of enthusiasm. Seeing our boy's indifference, Driver's pride took a hit. Gripping his electricity-charged spear, he warned our boy again that having stepped into the Ville Zone, he should be prepared, for Driver wouldn't hold back. In response to Driver's taunts, our boy simply turned and walked away with Moros, a casual home, leaving Driver dumbfounded. The arrogant villain froze, shouting, "Where are you going?" Watching our boy walk away without a backward glance, Moros finally breathed a sigh of relief. Still shaken by the confrontation with Driver, he remarked how close a call it had been. Moros gets straight to the point, warning our boy that at his current level, he's no match for the villain Driver. Our boy contemplates Driver's power, while Moros impatiently urges him to start training. Moros tries to reason with our boy about taking things slowly, but our boy cuts him off, his eyes burning with a thirst for battle, declaring that the best training is a real fight to the death. Meanwhile, Driver seems to be replaying our boy's past performance. He kicks, leaving a trail, muttering to himself, intrigued by our boy's fearless gaze and agile moves. No sooner had he spoken than Driver dashed forward in a purple blur. Our boy swiftly activated his powers, launching a fierce assault right behind him, with their battle now fully ignited. Driver narrowly evades the attack, tumbling through the air. Just then, our boy's human body is flung upwards, showcasing a puzzling split in his powers. With a call, Driver conjures a spear-like weapon in his hand. Moros quickly warns our boy, alerting him to Driver's impending new move. Faced with Driver's taunt, our boy is completely stunned, seemingly understanding his opponent's intent, as an eye for an eye leaves him deep in thought. In the last chapter, Driver unleashed a devastating beam cannon at our boy. The purple shockwave instantly engulfed the scene, and a colossal explosion roared, threatening to level the entire city. Chapter Villain to Kill officially opens with a stark warning, hinting at the inevitable violent and bloody battles to come. Despite Driver's fierce bombardment, our boy countered with incredible speed, stunning the armored Driver, who moved swiftly, almost being outmaneuvered. Meanwhile, a mysterious face-painted man also seemed to be caught in a fierce energy clash. Amidst the chaos, Moros, by our boy's side, calmly analyzed the situation, detecting Driver's magic points already surpassing 1,000. In the glow of the tech interface, another face-painted man thoughtfully gazed downwards, seemingly contemplating the unfolding events. Yet, our boy showed no fear. With his heterochromatic eyes and new attire, he even curved his lips into an amused smirk, seemingly enjoying the tough battle ahead. At this moment, our boy, wielding a mysterious weapon, faced Driver head-on. Driver, confident in his power, assessed our boy with disdain, but secretly resolved to hold nothing back. As he prepared to unleash his full might, the face-painted man also erupted with energy, shouting, "Here I go," making the battle even more unpredictable. In a flash, both sides erupted. Our boy moved like lightning, violently clashing with Driver's heavy mech. Energy scattered, sparks flew, and an intense battle of offense and defense immediately unfolded. Our boy's incredible speed and precise predictions continuously thwarted Driver's fierce attacks. Driver was stunned, incredulously asking if this kid could see through his moves. Faced with our boy's unfathomable power, Driver began to wonder if this youth was the mysterious powerhouse who had defeated Blaster. With a deafening clang, our boy's weapon violently struck Driver's heavy firearm once more. The immense impact instantly cracked Driver's face goggles, as he clearly hadn't anticipated such formidable power from our boy. At this moment, our boy's heterochromatic eyes glowed, his gaze sharpening with intense pressure, while distant alarms hinted that this battle was far from over. An intense battle unfolds as the goggle-wearing Driver unleashes his full power. Wielding a massive gun with his mechanical body, he charges fiercely at the black-haired man, determined to crush him completely. Driver unleashes his full arsenal, charging furiously at his opponent. His mechanical arm emits purple energy, trying to overwhelm the rapidly dodging black-haired man. The furious exchange of offense and defense is dizzying. Just as Driver thought he had the upper hand, Moros, a black smoke-like entity, suddenly manifested. A powerful blue energy burst, deflecting Driver's attack with a deafening crash and sending debris flying across the battlefield. Before Driver could recover from the blast, our boy, Cashin, seized the moment, leaping from behind like lightning. He delivered a merciless blow, sending Driver flying, who instantly felt paralyzed. Driver exclaimed, "He's no joke. His skills are on an entirely different level." Cashin stood calmly, pondering that such refined combat skills could only come from professional training. Moros, meanwhile, grinned mockingly beside him, clearly pleased with how the battle was unfolding. Just then, Crow, Driver's envoy, arrived, accompanied by the B-rank archer Red Eye and the shirtless black-haired Stinger. With all the villains assembled, the tension in the air immediately skyrocketed. Driver and Crow exchanged smug smiles, with Driver taunting Stinger, "What, calling for backup because you're losing?" This provocation instantly infuriated Stinger's subordinates, who incredulously asked, "Boss lost to that cocky little brat? That Driver?" Ignoring the shocked subordinates, Driver turned to Stinger, demanding to know why he had attacked so suddenly. Stinger coolly replied, "I just wanted to fight someone strong. And I can't let a scumbag like you run wild." In a dilapidated setting, Driver and Crow confront other characters. Villain Black Hand looks uneasy as Driver seems to interrogate our boy, questioning if he is the notorious serial killer slaughtering innocents. Yukin is utterly shocked by the sudden accusation, deeming it incredibly unfair. Meanwhile, Our boy, Cashin, remains calm and composed, ready for whatever comes next. Driver tries to clarify that he's not the serial killer, while Yukin, furious, clenches his fist, eager to teach someone a lesson. Our boy calmly states he's not the killer, but can't prove it. Just then, Yukin seizes his chance, believing it's the perfect moment to strike at the punk. Roaring, he unleashes golden electricity, charging at our boy with the formidable power of his death gauntlet. Yukin's eyes glow red as he lets out a furious roar, smashing his fist into our boy. The massive impact sends debris flying and shatters his opponent's helmet, but our boy seems only momentarily stunned, clearly surprised by the sneak attack from behind. Our boy's cold heterochromatic eyes fix on Yukin as he retorts, "Only cheap dirtbags would attack from behind, don't you think?" Before the words fully land, he retaliates with furious speed, unleashing a barrage of punches back at Yukin. Facing the shocked crowd, Driver explains that levels aren't everything. A B-level beating an A-level happens more than you think. He proves it by unleashing his firepower, crushing his opponent with overwhelming speed and force. Driver is thoroughly impressed with our boy, calling him a perfectly optimized high-end machine. He then reveals a glowing orange magic stone, the primary resource villains use to boost their magic power beyond their limits. Driver tosses the stone to our boy and proposes a deal. Catch a certain trader for him, and the stone is his to keep as a gift. Seeing a clear path to gaining more power, our boy doesn't turn him down. Although Driver claims he's an innocent victim in this mess, our boy isn't buying it. After leaving the scene, he walks through the sunset-drenched streets, discussing the true potential of the stone with Moros. On the way home, Moros explains that while this refined stone isn't a natural crystal, it's perfect for raising magic points. However, he warns that our boy must be in his villain form to fully absorb its energy. Our boy heads to a quiet rooftop, suiting up to consume the stone. Recalling his mentor Jeff's past advice, he knows that mastering this forbidden power requires both a strong body and an unshakable mind. As the stone is absorbed, a violent surge of energy erupts within him, causing his eyes to flare with contrasting colors. Moros urges him to stay calm. The awakening has begun, and his will is the only thing keeping him together. A massive vortex of energy shakes his very core as two distinct powers clash violently. Despite the danger, our boy grit his teeth, knowing this is the only way to gain the strength needed to hunt down those who betrayed him. With a deafening roar, a beam of intense energy pierces straight through the buildings, sending a devastating shockwave through the entire area. At the heart of the explosion, our boy can feel a surge of raw magic flowing into him, his gaze sharpening as he realizes his power is reaching new heights. Just one magic stone was enough to cause this level of growth. Looking at the lightning-infused crystal, our boy finally understands why villains are so desperate to get their hands on them. Moros runs a power analysis, and the results leave them both stunned. The stone granted a massive 50-point boost, bringing his total to 350, a growth rate that's absolutely insane. This level of efficiency is unheard of, even for Moros. But what surprises our boy even more is that his rising magic has unlocked a brand new hidden skill. This skill, magic stone extraction, allows him to pull stones from magic-infused weapons. He claims it's useless, but he's already wondering where he can find some legendary gear to test it on. The scene shifts to a busy department store, where a flamboyant guy is showing off a flashy new sword, unaware that he's just become our boy's prime target. The scene shifts to a purple-haired man in sunglasses, Driver, casually eating a donut while showcasing an ornate long sword, boasting it's imbued with top-tier magic stones. Munching on his donut, Driver ponders as hushed conversations around him touch upon the ominous serial killer, blood rain, and the city's heightened alert. When Yukin Kim, the red-haired man, questions if Driver is the killer, Driver dismissively shakes his hand, asserting that while he might be a villain, he's far from such a gruesome murderer. Nian, the pink-haired girl, wanted to play a bit longer with her friend, but Yukin's curfew made her hesitate. Little did they know, a sinister gaze from the shadows was watching their every move. Meanwhile, across the city, members of the Psyker Special Unit publicly vowed to swiftly apprehend the serial killer who had been terrorizing the citizens. Back home, our boy was discussing the serial killer with Moros. Moros noted that senseless killings made tracking incredibly difficult. Despite knowing the murders took place in Gatham, the lack of information frustrated our boy. Moros subtly prompted, questioning if someone had mentioned these cases, seemingly hinting at an opportunity for our boy. Turns out, Driver's envoy had proactively approached our boy, offering a communication device and promising to provide detailed information on the killer, urging him to stay in touch. The envoy even pleaded, stating driver would fully support our boy in catching the killer. Our boy's clenched fist and surging dark powers showed he was determined to handle this himself. Nonetheless, our boy wrestled with an internal conflict. He gazed at the communicator, hesitating before his pride, as a hero ultimately led him to reject the offer of collaboration with a villain. Regardless of hero or villain, our boy had only one goal for anyone who threatened lives: no mercy. He tracked the next target to an entertainment center called Town Arcade. Unbeknownst to him, Nian and Minyoung were actually inside this very arcade, trying their luck at a claw machine. Nian was intently focused on grabbing a masked bear plushie, but ultimately failed, sighing in defeat. As curfew approached, Minyoung had to decline Nian's plea for one more try, preparing to leave. Just then, a drone marked with the letter D quietly hovered outside the arcade window, seemingly locking onto them as its new targets. A distressed blue-haired girl approaches her pink-haired friend, finally confessing a shocking secret. She saw something. Turns out, she witnessed the truth behind the schoolgirl's murder a few days ago, and even worse, the killer saw her too. Fear made her want to run, but she decided not to stay silent. Realizing the danger, the pink-haired girl decides to go to the police with her. The witness is also in peril. They rush towards the exit. However, just as they were about to leave, the exit shutter suddenly dropped, plunging the entire hallway into darkness. Then, a viscous sensation underfoot. Looking down, they saw horrifying blood. A chilling voice followed. Finally, we meet again. Unknown fear overwhelmed them. Cold blood dripped from the ceiling, and then, the twisted figure of the killer, Blood Rain, appeared before them with a sinister grin. Meanwhile, our boy is searching the city streets for Blood Rain. Moros advises him, I don't think wandering around like this will help you find the killer. Just then, a vibration from his waist. Our boy pulls out the special phone driver gave him. Moros teases him about his pride, but our boy notices a new message. However, upon opening the message, his expression completely changed. The scene instantly cuts to the two girls trapped in a pool of blood, terrified and clearly in despair. Meanwhile, the trapped pink-haired girl looks out the window, where a glowing drone hovers in the twilight, hinting at an impending new crisis. Trapped in a dark room, Nian and Minyoung face a horrifying liquid monster. Minyoung instantly recognizes it as the serial killer who attacked them last time. Faced with the killer once more, Nian recalls Yukin handing her an emergency pager, gravely instructing her to press the button if anything happened, and he'd be right there. In this critical moment, Nian didn't hesitate. She pressed the pager button with all her might, urgently shouting, "This is no joke, Yukin. Get your ass over here now." The liquid monster, Blood Rain, revealed a sinister smile, mocking their exhaustion and declaring he would grant them eternal slumber. Enraged by such arrogance, Nian pointed at the monster and furiously retorted, "Shut up, you bastard. If you love eternal rest so much, why don't you take it yourself?" Facing the cruel assault of the gray-skinned villain, the pink-haired girl's sister desperately shields her fallen brother. With a cold smirk, the villain declares he'll turn the boy into the perfect experiment, pushing the sister's horror to its peak as she curses the sick bastard in despair. At this critical moment, a powerful shockwave suddenly exploded, instantly tearing through the liquid-like villain. This unforeseen turn of events left the pink-haired girl utterly stunned. Though the immediate danger passed, the gray-skinned villain reappeared, a dark, spiky limb extending from his shoulder, emanating a blood-red glow, clearly brewing even greater power. A sudden battle erupts as a menacing, red-eyed villain delivers a deadly threat to our boy, who stares back with his heterochromatic eyes, filled with confusion and wariness. Before our boy could react, the villain's attack whistled past him. He had to dodge at high speed, while a nearby pink-haired girl shivered in fright, crying out, "Die!" Despite our boy's full effort to evade, he was struck by a bloody claw, sent flying backward, and crashed hard to the ground with a painful groan. Struggling to his feet, our boy clutched his injured abdomen, scanning his surroundings warily to find the enemy gone. The pink-haired girl beside him anxiously cried, "Hey, wait! Please!" Just then, the girl knelt, cradling an injured boy, and tearfully pleaded with our boy, whose appearance seemed to have shifted, begging him to save her friend. "I beg you." Meanwhile, in the distant city night, an urgent pager signal went off, indicating someone was in danger. Elsewhere, Kim Yukin and his companion sped through the night after receiving the distress signal. Yukin anxiously held his phone, worried Nian might have mistakenly pressed the pager or truly be in danger. He urged his companion to rush to the scene, praying for Nian's safety. All clues ultimately pointed to a building called Town Arcade, where danger and evil awaited our boy. As the girl desperately pleaded into the pager, a drone quickly arrived on the scene. She frantically reported, "A girl is hurt real bad and she's unconscious," while our boy calmly observed nearby. The girl anxiously rummaged through her bag for something to stop the bleeding. Seeing this, our boy casually handed her some very elastic items, resembling stockings, for an emergency bandage on the injured blue-haired girl. Our boy conversed internally with Moros, quickly confirming the injured person's condition. Despite his arrogance, Moros swiftly assessed, "For now, she's fine. She'll survive." Upon hearing Moros' assessment, our boy reassured the anxious girl, telling her the injured person was safe for now, as long as the ambulance arrived in time. Distant sirens seemed to confirm his words. As the ambulance sounds grew closer, our boy prepared to leave discreetly. When the girl thanked him and asked him to stay, he simply explained that his presence might scare ordinary people. Leaving the bewildered girl behind in the chaos, our boy swiftly traversed the night, disappearing among the city buildings at incredible speed, leaving the rest to the arriving rescue teams. The city was fraught with danger under the night sky. Urged by Moros, our boy sliced through the air like a blue lightning bolt, arriving just in the nick of time and landing with a powerful impact. Thankfully, he made it, or those kids would have been in grave danger. Before he could even catch his breath, a glowing blue, red marked drone-like object in midair immediately caught our boy's attention. He couldn't help but wonder, "What is that?" Just then, purple light effects accompanied by feather-like objects scattered in the air. Then, a mysterious character with long red hair and eyes, cloaked in black and red, appeared like a phantom on a distant rooftop, exuding an intense aura. With a whoosh, she seemed to materialize out of thin air, catching everyone off guard. The TV news reports a serial killer attack from last night, with a high school girl hospitalized. As our boy prepares to leave, his sister, worried, reminds him to be careful out there, as things have been rough lately. Walking through the city, our boy muses to himself. It has been days since his reincarnation into Gangwa's body. Though his path of revenge has begun, he still harbors doubts about Moros and the deal with Vilzone. In the hospital hallway, a tired Yukin sat as driver approached, concerned about his sister. Learning she'd just fallen asleep, driver sighed. They then sat down, ready to discuss the case report. Driver explained to Yukin that the crime scene surveillance cameras were destroyed, making CCTV footage unavailable. However, by analyzing the case report, he found the mysterious villain's actions utterly baffling. Driver revealed with disbelief that it was him, the villain, who had helped Nian and Minyong. Yukin pondered, confirming it was that guy again. According to Nian, Yukin gravely revealed the villain saved both Nian and his sister. Perplexed, they wondered why a villain would keep saving innocents. Driver added he'd taken down Blaster, deepening his mysterious identity. Students on the street whispered rumors. In the crowd, the sole entity Moros subtly observed a black-haired man with distinct blue and gold eyes. Moros directly confronted the black-haired man, questioning him with a hint of scrutiny and displeasure if he had skipped school to come all the way here. Our boy grabbed a cola at the convenience store checkout. Girls nearby gushed over him, much to his annoyance. When asked, he casually stated he was just a college student and urged her to ring him up. The cashier took the cola with a smile, ready to ring up our boy's purchase. Meanwhile, Crow, wearing her wide-brimmed hat, enthusiastically pitched new matching couple phones to a silver-haired gentleman, declaring their first photo together had to be a lovey-dovey shot. At the convenience store, our boy's cola was scanned, and he paid $3. The book The Priest of Corinth lay nearby. After checking out, he thoughtfully asked the cashier about paper recycling. Our boy accidentally bumped into someone at the convenience store, splashing water everywhere. But as his calm, purple eyes flashed, the clerk and a passerby began apologizing, even helping move cardboard boxes outside. The atmosphere became a bit subtle. Surveillance cameras silently tracked our boy's movements, while Moros whispered, "There's something I need to tell you. He's a villain, isn't he?" Hearing this, a ripple of emotion crossed our boy's eyes. Yukin's voice echoed in our boy's mind, describing someone's unsettling gaze, saying they weren't quite right, but unsure if they were blood rain. Just then, a book titled The Priest of Corinth appeared, hinting at a new clue. It turns out The Priest of Corinth is a classic vampire novel, and the chilling line, "You will die inside of me, a sweet death," was a quote from it. Our boy realized a villain had used this very phrase before. After finishing his cola, our boy's lips curled into a slight smile as he decided to see if the card he drew was indeed a joker. Meanwhile, Yukin was intently focused on his smartphone screen. Our boy and Moros walked casually through the city streets. However, Yukin, not far away, watched intently, his sharp eyes taking in the every move of the pedestrians, including our boy. Just then, a car sped by with blaring horns and roaring engines. In that critical moment, our boy's eyes sharpened, and he leaped forward like an arrow, a sight that utterly shocked Yukin nearby. With a loud tire screech, the danger was finally averted. Our boy gasped, looking at the hat-wearing man groaning on the ground whom he had just saved. Damn it, he cursed inwardly, clearly annoyed by the sudden incident. The sudden incident weighed heavily on our boy. He stood on the street with a cold, stern expression, seemingly lost in thought. Yukin gazed at the towering city buildings, muttering, "I didn't think you'd transform into a villain in a place like this." Then, his eyes sharpened as he seemed to make a decision. I had no choice. All doors to the rooftop around here were locked. I should have taken this earlier. With a flash of light, our boy's eyes glowed with an unusual calm power. He then ordered Moros, run a power analysis and check my bio. It seems a real battle is about to begin. Our boy is surprised to see a holographic interface suddenly appear, revealing he's unlocked 2 new skills, Shadow Hide and Shadow Dash. Our boy is busy mastering his new moves, experimenting with combining Shadow Hide and Shadow Dash. He's zipping between buildings like a purple blur, clearly impressed by the synergy of these skills. Just as our boy is getting into the groove, Moros chimes in with a lecture. He warns him to stop wasting magic power, and to use his skills more strategically depending on the situation. After tracking the coordinates, our boy pinpoints a target. Based on the intel, it's highly likely that the twisted serial killer, Blood Rain, is heading straight for the hospital. Sensing the urgency, our boy's expression hardens as he sprints toward the hospital wards. He knows every second counts if he wants to stop the carnage before it starts. Meanwhile, a pink-haired girl wakes up in a daze, finding herself being moved toward an ambulance by some shady individuals in uniform. She's totally confused, unaware of the creeping danger around her. The rescue quickly reveals its dark side. Accompanied by a chilling laugh and swirling red mist, the girl realizes with horror that she isn't in the hands of medics, but a deadly villain. The killer stands before her, showing off his collection of faithful puppets. He coldly threatens to strip away her will and turn her into just another mindless tool under his command. But suddenly, the psycho stops. Intrigued by the girl's defiant spirit amidst her terror, he cracks a twisted smile and declares that she is actually fit to be his bride instead. Facing the menacing villain Blood Rain, the pink-haired girl is paralyzed with fear. But just as the monster thinks he's won, a familiar and powerful presence is closing in fast. With a thunderous crash of shattering glass, our boy bursts through the window like lightning. The shockwave from his entry clears the area, putting him right between the girl and danger. The battle ignites instantly. Facing his persistent foe, our boy's eyes glow with heterochromatic power, as he coldly declares that the revenge is only just beginning. The two clash at high speeds amidst the ruins, their movements leaving only blurs. Blood Rain roars in a frenzy, unleashing a brutal assault to try and overpower our boy. Blood Rain swings a lethal blood cutter, but our boy's reflexes are top tier. He pulls off a perfect dodge at the very last second, showing off his insane agility. Die! Blood Rain screams hysterically. But our boy doesn't flinch, diving straight through the chaotic energy with an aura that completely overwhelms the villain. Realizing brute force isn't working, Blood Rain tries a desperate hypnosis trick. But our boy is far beyond such cheap tactics, and the final strike is about to land. Without a moment's hesitation, our boy lunges forward, a surge of blue-purple energy exploding from his arm. Blood splatters, and a chilling scream pierces the air. Immediately after, a massive shockwave erupts, scattering debris everywhere. With fierce, glowing dual eyes, our boy unleashes a devastating explosion that rips through the space. Crackling with electricity, our boy coldly confronts his opponent. "You've been doing whatever you wanted, haven't you? Now it's your..." Faced with such immense pressure, the pink-haired woman recoils in terror. As a sinister cackle echoes, our boy's eyes turn bloodthirsty, firmly declaring, "No one will ever stop me, for that is who I am." Before his opponent can fully grasp the situation, the dark power surrounding our boy lets out a sinister cackle. With another powerful strike, blood and fragments scatter once more. As our boy's relentless assault continues, Moroz's eye observes the opponent's resilience. Indeed, physical blows seem ineffective against her, a fact our boy quickly realizes, prompting him to reassess his strategy. The scene abruptly shifts, shocking the pink-haired woman to find herself in a parking lot. Still disoriented, she spots our boy, instantly crying out a villain, and instinctively moving to stop him. The atmosphere hits rock bottom as our boy's dark suit and glowing eyes stun Yukin and his companion. Seeing him as a threat, they immediately label him a villain and prepare for the worst. The girl lunges forward without hesitation, her green blade slicing through the air. Our boy parries the strike effortlessly, even taking a second to complain about her lack of sportsmanship. Weapons clash in a spray of sparks. While the girl presses her attack, Yukin seems distracted, forcing her to shout at him to snap out of it and stay focused on the fight. Yukin is internally conflicted. He heard rumors that this villain actually saved his friends. However, his rigid sense of justice makes it hard to reconcile those heroic acts with his past trauma. Ultimately, hatred wins out as Yukin's eyes turn cold. Igniting a fierce flame in his palm, he decides that regardless of the rumors, all villains must be obliterated without mercy. Tired of the one-sided hostility, our boy stops holding back. Surrounded by crackling purple lightning, he unleashes his shadow slicer, sending tremors through the floor. A streak of blue light tears through the air with blinding speed. Despite the girl's desperate counterattack, she struggles to keep pace with our boy's overwhelming power and precision. Seizing a brief opening, the girl calls out for Yukin to strike. They attempt to coordinate their efforts, hoping their teamwork can finally bring our boy to his knees. Yukin goes all out, unleashing a massive flare of energy. But as he closes in, the realization of our boy's past kindness hits him again, leaving his final strike hanging in doubt. The scene shifts to a sharp-eyed black-haired man with narrowed pupils and a stern expression. Simultaneously, a purple-haired woman dashes forward, surrounded by surging energy, seemingly in a fierce pursuit or sudden attack. Meanwhile, Yukin stands before shattered glass, black cracks appearing around him as if in defense. The spectacled man, driver, holding a blade, demands to know what Yukin is doing. The purple-haired woman, gripping a metal stick, seriously apologizes to him, as her performance today is far from her usual self. Next, a close-up of a long sword with blue patterns appears. The purple-haired woman, barefoot, grips the sword, looking tense and confused, as if unsure of what just transpired. Nearby, Yukin observes the scene with his back turned. Driver smiles as he reminds Yukin not to lose focus during a mission, then tells him to go check on his sister. Yukin's gaze sharpens, and after a moment of silence, he finally agrees. Anyway, what should we do now? We missed. It seems they've missed some important development due to the previous commotion. The scene shifts to an injured boy stumbling through an alley, his left shoulder wounded, blood trickling from his mouth. He weakly complains, "Ugh, damn it! I'm thirsty, both of them!" The comic issues a warning for potentially disturbing violence in this episode. In the scene, the injured black-haired man, his back to us and his shirt stained with blood, faces distant flames, muttering angrily, "Damn it, that bastard got in my way again! I'm thirsty!" The scene then shifts, first showing someone's terrified face, followed by a bloody, fanged, sinister smile, the true, monstrous face of the villain. "Blood rain!" He gazes at the neon-lit club red juice, muttering to himself, "This place should be perfect for slaking my thirst." Blood rain blends into the dance floor, where a pink-haired woman notices the blood on his shirt and asks if he's hurt. But the villain calmly replies, "No, I'm just thirsty." When the woman offers to buy him a drink, he declines. Beside her, another figure reveals a monstrous, fanged grin, signaling the arrival of terror. "I'm in the mood for something even tastier," the villain's sinister inner voice reveals. Simultaneously, a blue sports car roars into action as an emergency broadcast announces, "Emergency at Club Red Juice on Goggin Avenue 3, Gadam District." A villain suspected to be Blood Rain is wreaking havoc on clubgoers. Meanwhile, Driver, upon hearing Blood Rain is causing trouble again, waves his hand dismissively. Yukin looks shocked when he hears Blood Rain is causing trouble again and shouts, "In!" His eyes sharpen with deep concern for the situation and his friend's safety. Yukin anxiously asked Naun if she was hurt, but Naun calmly replied that the same person who saved her last time had saved her once again. Upon hearing this news, Yukin's eyes sharpened, and he immediately got into a car, as if to pursue that mysterious figure. After an intense battle, our boy was clearly heavily injured. Moros couldn't help but comment that his performance just now was a bit off. Moros directly pointed out that our boy's attitude towards the psyker was completely different from how he treated villains, even questioning if he deliberately held back. Our boy's eyes sharpened at this, and he declared resolutely that such a thing would never happen again. He knew in his heart that from now on, the enemies he had to face would be far more than just the obvious villains. A sudden alarm sound interrupted their conversation, and the energy fluctuations on our boy's chest became apparent. He looked at Moros, confused, asking what would happen next. As the alarm grew more urgent, the distant sky was tinged with an ominous purplish red, accompanied by screams. Our boy knew that a new crisis had arrived. At this moment, our boy was heavily injured, trembling in pain on the ground. The scene then shifted to show purple-haired Blood Rain and red-haired Yukin also present, both covered in sweat, clearly having just gone through a fierce battle. Looking around, the entire interior was a mess, with blood flowing on the ground. The pink-haired girl Nan was curled up, clutching her head, while the blue-haired girl Minyoung stood dazed with a wine glass, both clearly terrified. Just then, purple-haired Blood Rain, with blood dripping from his mouth, declared, finally sated. It turns out, this bloody massacre was his doing. Yukin furiously cursed the bloodthirsty bastard before him. But Blood Rain ignored Yukin's rage, simply sitting in a chair with a satisfied bloody face, calmly drinking, and warning them not to disturb his precious healing time. Seeing Blood Rain's arrogant demeanor, our boy gritted his teeth, pain and anger intertwining on his face. A certain power within him seemed to be trembling awake. Yukin decided to first rescue the survivors, then team up to subdue Blood Rain. And just then, Blood Rain, fully sated, declared, "My healing time is complete." As Blood Rain's words faded, our boy suddenly looked up, his eyes turning crimson, and a fiery energy orb condensed above his head. It seemed he was about to unleash his power. Facing our boy, who was about to unleash his power, Blood Rain also refused to back down. Floating in the air, he immediately conjured a massive blood spear, ready to deliver a fatal blow. Facing Blood Rain's fatal blow, and our boy's impending unknown power, Yukin showed a shocked expression. What will be the outcome of this chaotic battle? The battle ignites. Driver strikes first with his glowing weapon, while Yukin, fueled by intense flames, charges toward the enemy at incredible speed. Just then, Yukin urgently calls out to Driver, worried about hostages. But a chilling voice replies mockingly, warning Yukin to worry about himself first. No sooner had the words left, Driver was hit by a powerful blast. Despite his desperate counterpunches, he was engulfed by the energy wave, screaming in agony. Seeing Driver in peril, Yukin screams, "Driver, enro," then unleashes his ultimate blood smash attack, engulfing the entire scene in a massive explosion. As the smoke clears, the serial killer Blood Rain emerges unharmed, a mocking grin on his face. He effortlessly evades Yukin's attacks and launches a sudden, deadly counter. Blood Rain's speed is astonishing. Yukin is instantly slashed before he can even react. At the same moment, our boy is also ripped apart by blood energy, clearly in agony, as the villain smirks triumphantly. Yet Yukin doesn't give up. He quickly adjusts, delivering an astonishing kick that finally manages to push Blood Rain back. Our boy is in a world of hurt right now, clutching his chest and gasping for air on the ground. The bloodstains and debris around him tell a brutal story, but even in this state, he's still got enough fight in him to tell his attacker to get lost. The blue-skinned villain mocks him with a cruel smirk, even licking the blood off his claws. He taunts our boy, saying he's lucky his bones weren't crushed. It's a frustrating spot for our guy, especially since he can't tap into his flame skills properly right now. The villain pushes his luck by bringing up Nien Kim as a threat. You can see the shift in our boy's eyes, they go cold as ice. Looking at that smug face, the rage inside our guy is reaching a boiling point he can no longer suppress. The threat against his friends is the last straw. Our boy warns him that touching her will be the last thing he ever does, as flames begin to dance in his palm. Ironically, this fury is exactly what the villain wants. He's dying to taste the blood of an infuriated psyker. The scene shifts to a desolate construction site under a crescent moon. The villain thinks he's picked the perfect spot for an execution, mockingly offering our boy a chance to finally go all out and show what he's made of. With no one around, the silent night becomes a grim stage. The villain eyes our boy, thinking about the feast of blood he's about to enjoy, completely unaware that the roles of predator and prey are about to flip. Our boy looks up, a sharp blue light in his eyes that freezes the air. He coldly declares that bringing him here is the villain's final mistake, and suddenly, the suppressed flames explode with terrifying force. With a roar, our boy launches himself like a burning meteor. He's not holding back anymore. This is a full-throttle strike fueled by pride and rage, the brilliance of his flames lighting up the entire night sky. Facing this overwhelming onslaught, the villain finally stops laughing as they clash midair. Our boy cuts through the distance at high speed, lunging for the grab. The pace is frantic now, and it looks like the fight is heading for a climax. Meanwhile, the red-haired boy and a mysterious horned figure are locked in a fierce duel. Facing the taunts, the red-haired boy unleashes his full power and charges forward. Just then, our boy finally arrives at the scene. Witnessing the chaos and chilling aura, he realizes a fierce battle just occurred, and the lingering traces hint at extraordinary magical power. As he ventured further, our boy discovered an injured person on the ground. Moros confirmed they were still alive. Just then, Moros' attention was drawn to a weapon emanating a strange light. Moros immediately recognized it as a weapon imbued with magical power. Our boy took the sword and instantly felt the immense energy within, his expression turning serious. Seizing the opportunity, Moros suggested our boy extract the magic stone from the weapon, thinking it a good chance. However, our boy hesitated, knowing the sword wasn't his. Despite his reservations, our boy ultimately decided to try. He thrust the sword into the ground, then focused his mind. Immense energy began to surge around him as he prepared to extract the magic stone. As our boy's power surged, the magic stone seemed to react powerfully, emitting dazzling red electric arcs. This burst of energy even surprised Moros. Our boy is now fully enveloped in purple-blue energy, his power evolving once more. Moros, sensing this familiar yet strange aura, is shocked, realizing he's felt this power before and more than once. In another towering structure, two shadowy figures leap from the rooftop, hinting at new dangers ahead. Perhaps this is merely the calm before the storm. High above the city, a few unexpected guests observed a swirling red energy vortex below. Their voices hinted at impatience and anticipation, as if waiting for a key figure to arrive, while a fierce battle had clearly already begun. In the city's heart, the S-rank hero Yukon Kim, a former admirer of our boy, was locked in intense combat. Agile and swift, he seized his opponent in a flash, orange energy spiraling from his palm, poised to deliver a decisive blow. Yukon Kim lifted his opponent, his words dripping with overwhelming confidence, mocking the enemy's attack as a puny flare that stood no chance. He then delivered a powerful punch, sending them crashing down hard, sealing their defeat in an instant. The heavily struck opponent hit the ground with a powerful impact. Yet, as Yukon Kim knelt, panting, a colossal black silhouette slowly approached. From above, it sneered with disdain. So weak. How pathetic. The sinister silhouette revealed a wicked smile, sharp fangs and claws, eyes glowing red. It arrogantly declared its intent to devour Yukon Kim, to make him forever a part of itself. An unknown enemy, a dark silhouette shrouded in fiery energy, dives down like a black lightning bolt. With a massive kaboom, a powerful shockwave erupts, signaling the start of yet another fierce battle. Immediately after, the dark silhouette enemy lunges with sharp claws, proclaiming "Got him," as it dashes forward at incredible speed, showing no signs of letting up its assault. Caught off guard by the sudden assault, the black-haired boy barely has time to react before the enemy's claws close in. He scrambles to dodge, letting out a startled cry, clearly in a precarious situation. Just as the black-haired boy struggled, a silver-haired figure suddenly appeared, landing a heavy punch charged with blue lightning. The dark silhouette enemy then seized the opportunity to strike again, sending him flying. The dark silhouette enemy roars, seemingly mocking, "I was looking forward to seeing your divine power. When will it finally appear?" The black-haired boy roars back, his eyes glowing blue and yellow, clearly provoked. With a loud crash, the previously formidable dark silhouette enemy was sent flying, crashing to the ground in disarray. This sudden turn of events left the red-haired boy beside him completely stunned, uttering a disbelieving gasp. It turns out our boy was the one who unleashed such power. His eyes were sharp, body crackling with electricity, as he repelled the enemy. Onlookers exclaimed that this was a whole new level of power. Had he been hiding his true strength all this time? Meanwhile, our boy reflected on what had happened after the hospital, as if everything was quietly changing. Though knocked down, the enemy smirked, a sneer on its face. Trying to run away again? I admit you've grown stronger, but physical attacks won't work on me. Clearly, it still had a trick up its sleeve, completely dismissive of our boy's newfound strength. As dark energy erupted, the enemy summoned multiple tentacle-like masses, sneering, "Once I change, Physical attacks won't work on me. It seems the real battle has only just begun. A shadowy figure taunts the surprised purple-haired girl as intense blue and purple energies, along with flames and electricity, erupt around them. Then our boy, Gwon Gangu, emerges with a chilling smirk, declaring he will burn his enemies to ash. With a massive shadow flare impact, blue and purple energy explodes towards the enemy, shaking the entire space with its force. Suddenly, a mysterious data panel appears, revealing Gwon Gangu as a villain, potential to bring the apocalypse, and his powerful darkness dual abilities. The scene shifts to a hospital exterior, where breaking news announces the arrest of serial killer Blood Rain. Model student Kim Yukin is hailed as the hero who single-handedly subdued the villain, sparking public cheers. However, a pensive Kim Yukin, while on his hospital bed, denies defeating Blood Rain to his mysterious visitor, knowing he only contacted headquarters after the fight was over. Yukin recalls the battle, bewildered that the mysterious powerhouse could not only control darkness, but also unleash flames. This unprecedented dual ability user left him deeply shocked and confused. A figure flashes in his mind, a kneeling Yukin looking up at the man with heterochromatic eyes and blue light, who ordered him to call the police, claiming Blood Rain had been caught. Yukin clarified the truth to headquarters, but the media still gave him credit. He pondered if the one who defeated Blood Rain was the same mystery person who fought Blaster. Yes, it must be him. Seeing Yukin struggle, the visitor beside him teases, "You feel like you don't deserve the hero title, don't you?" The visitor continued chatting nonchalantly, unaware of Yukin's deep thoughts, then affectionately mentioned "my baby," perhaps looking towards our boy on the bed. Against a blurred, bloody backdrop, the red-haired hero Yukin Kim looks resolute, as if vowing to eliminate every single villain. Meanwhile, on the school rooftop, a group of students huddle, gossiping about the latest news. A headline on a phone proudly announces, "Serial killer finally caught," promising new psycher Yukin Kim's heroic. Yet, beneath this facade of calm, trouble brews. A purple-haired student, knife in hand, menacingly questions a black-haired boy, seemingly searching for someone named Dong Seong, immediately escalating the tension. A mysterious group gathers, and a masked character casually sips a drink, recounting how he witnessed our boy's thrilling battle with Blood Rain firsthand, claiming to have watched the entire fight from beginning to end, just like a movie. During their gathering, a golden-haired girl asks for opinions on the fight, but the purple-haired odd dismisses it as nothing special. However, another participant, the purple short-haired character, finds our boy quite impressive, describing him as a dark diamond, which elicits a knowing smile from Royal Garnet. Royal Garnet then turns to Driver with a knowing look, dropping a bombshell. "You knew all along, didn't you? That our boy is a dual ability user?" Under the night sky, our boy, Kwon Gangwoo, faces a mysterious man in goggles with an imposing aura. Though the man seems overly friendly, our boy's calm expression suggests he's fully prepared for anything. Our boy is getting a full sales pitch from Driver, who's painting a vivid picture of the Villezone boss's life, power, resources, a personal training room, and even access to magic stones from the black market. But our boy's interest only perks up at the mention of getting stronger. Driver is truly going all out to recruit our boy, listing every perk of being a boss, including a monthly salary. Our boy listens intently, all while subtly observing his surroundings, seemingly gauging the strength of the villains present. Just then, Driver leaned in and whispered something to our boy. The information clearly hit hard. Our boy's pupils constricted, and his expression turned grave as Moros appeared, signaling the profound impact of the message. The bartender lady just offered a slight smile, as if this recruitment show was a common sight to her. Suddenly, the scene shifts. Our boy is suffering through delicacies, an awful sandwich prompting him to exclaim, "This is disgusting." A blue-haired guy next to him also complains, lamenting how long it's been since he had his favorite pizza. Faced with the unpalatable food, the blue-haired guy suddenly erupted, accusing our boy of destroying the only pizza parlor around. As they argued, Driver's envoy, Crow, appeared and gravely announced, "That kid is here." As soon as Crow spoke, our boy, in Kwon Gangwoo's form, reacted violently, his eyes turning ferocious, and dangerous yellow electricity surging around him. He roared, demanding, "Tell me where he is." Even the blue-haired guy, who was just complaining, was affected by this power, and entered a combat stance. Amidst this tense atmosphere, on a distant city rooftop, a long-handled weapon violently struck the ground with a whistling thrust, signaling that a new battle was about to begin. On a ruined rooftop, our boy meets two of Driver's quirky subordinates, Ground Dog, who's obsessed with digging, and cleaner, who constantly cleans. Though strange, they seem harmless enough. Driver's subordinates are certainly unique. Our boy takes the opportunity to ask why Driver entrusted him with taking out Blood Rain. It turns out there's a mole within the organization, and as an outsider, our boy is the perfect choice to uncover the traitor. Our boy quietly processes this sudden information. It seems his collaboration with Driver will be far more complex than he initially imagined. Our boy immediately asks if there's a connection between Blood Rain, Vilzone, and the mole. Driver explains he believes Blood Rain was just the beginning, and there's a larger conspiracy at play, with hidden manipulators aiming for something. Hearing our boy's speculation, Driver smirks, saying he knew our boy would think that, and openly expresses his admiration. Our boy is clearly puzzled by this sudden confession, but Driver solemnly swears on his name as a villain that he's sincere. As the conversation concludes, the scene shifts to a bustling city corner, finally settling inside an elegant European-style building named Vesperna, the workplace of our boy's sister, Kwan Yuri. By the wine cabinet, our boy's sister, Kwan Yuri, is busy at work. Thinking of her brother, whom she hasn't seen in a while, she can't help but worry about how he's doing. Just then, someone informs Yuri that the head manager is looking for her. Though surprised, she promptly acknowledges and prepares to go. Elsewhere, a high-ranking, long-haired woman is on the phone, praising Yuri as a friendly and diligent model employee. She even expresses reluctance to transfer her from the current position. The person on the other end of the call also seems to be full of praise for Yuri. Just as the call concludes, a knock sounds at the door, right on cue. Subsequently, someone hands Yuri a white letter sealed with red wax. It turns out to be an invitation from the company's U.S. headquarters, inviting her for training with all expenses paid. Receiving an invitation to join Vilzone, the secretary-like character is initially overjoyed but quickly sees a terrifying future, turning pale with shock and fear. Meanwhile, our boy finds himself in a ruined city. In this post-apocalyptic setting, he receives an invitation to join the mysterious villain organization, Vilzone, promising immense power. Faced with such a significant offer, our boy falls into deep thought. Moros, sensing his inner turmoil, quietly asks if something is bothering him. Just then, our boy senses something. Immediately, two menacing villains appear, their auras surging with energy, clearly ready for a fight. At the same time, Crow, in the distance, has stealthily observed the scene, realizing our boy has arrived. The two villains are clearly unhappy with our boy's presence, egging each other on to teach him a lesson. Moros, seeing this, immediately warns our boy to be careful. One of the villains erupts in fury, roaring as he smashes a nearby wooden barrel, venting his frustration, hinting at his imminent charge towards our boy. However, this ferocious attack seems to have no effect on our boy. Just then, the red-haired Driver appears, his calm tone indicating displeasure with this welcome. Driver bluntly rebukes the two villains, reminding them that ganging up on a new guest violates the rules. Though defiant, the two villains dare not make another move. Finally, Crow reappears, her brief yet powerful words announcing that our boy will soon officially join Vilzone, bringing an end to the small conflict. Under the moonlight, the mysterious Crow, cloaked and masked, makes a dramatic entrance, shocking the other villains, who wonder how she found them. But Crow merely offers a chilling, knowing grin. Confronted by Crow's sudden appearance, a villain rushes to question her, but the blue-haired captive remains unfazed. Surprisingly, the impulsive villain, captivated by Crow's aura, blushes crimson, exclaiming, "She's so cool." After a long day, our boy's sister, Kwan Yuri, returns home, visibly tired. She switches on the light, softly wondering if her brother is asleep, her concern evident. Suddenly, a man in a suit invites Yuri to train at headquarters, praising her as a tremendous asset. However, Yuri casually drops her handbag, seemingly wanting to shower, and put these matters aside for now. But right beside her handbag, an envelope with a red rose wax seal and a black bullet ominously appear, bearing the stark message, "Villain Tio kill." A dangerous mission seems to be quietly unfolding. Our boy explains this training is best for improving stamina and strength, as he must prepare for fights against multiple enemies, not just one-on-one. Moros, upon hearing this, agrees. Good thinking, Cashin. An argument erupts in the alley. The blue-haired villain, Driver, seems hesitant after hearing news, while his agitated subordinate points a weapon at him, furiously demanding to kill that bastard and questioning if our boy can pass the Vilzone test. Amidst the doubts and arguments, our boy makes a calm entrance. Wielding dual blades, he declares with resolute eyes, in 10 days. I'll take your test. His decisive declaration stuns all the villains, signaling the start of his path into their ranks. To gain a foothold in Villezone, a one-on-one duel is inevitable. Faced with a provocative challenge from a red-haired woman, our boy keeps his gaze sharp and shows no signs of backing down. Our boy has no interest in joining their ranks, but he knows he needs more power. To get stronger, he pushes himself through grueling training until every movement becomes second nature. His only motivation is getting revenge on Lampus for their betrayal. Even if this path leads him straight to hell, he'll keep his fists clenched and walk this lonely road to the very end. While out for a run, bystanders marvel at his dedication, unaware of the heavy secrets he carries. Meanwhile, mysterious figures in the shadows seem to be keeping a close eye on him. After a long day of training, our boy finds a moment of peace under the shower. It's the only time he can set aside the burden of revenge and let his exhausted body finally relax. Returning home, he finds the living room in a total mess. While wondering if his sister is still asleep, our boy spots a mysterious letter with a red seal lying among the clutter. Yuri shows up yawning, but as soon as she sees our boy with the letter, she's wide awake and snatches it back. Her frantic reaction makes it clear that the letter holds a significant secret. Once the letter is revealed as an invitation from headquarters, Yuri's expression turns conflicted. Though she insists she won't go, our boy calmly heads to the fridge, already forming his own thoughts. The scene shifts to our boy at home, calmly drinking milk. His sister, Yuri, seems anxious about leaving him alone, but our boy acts maturely, reassuring her in return. The perspective shifts to another scene. Crow, Driver's Messenger, and other villains are discussing in a dilapidated building. With only a week left until D-Day, they ponder if a certain jackass will truly show up to fight Juek. Facing the upcoming battle, the blue-haired man seems quite confident in Juek, believing he can easily win, even showing a hint of disdain. However, the other black-haired man's eyes sharpen, as what he seeks is revenge for his past. The scene shifts back to our boy. Moros asks if he plans to send his sister Yuri to the States, and with a soft click of the mouse, our boy affirms it would be good for both of them. Moros, somewhat displeased, reminds our boy that he is now Gangwoo and should consider things as a brother, ensuring Yuri can take care of herself, rather than simply acting with Cashin's logic. Apparently, Yuri is also preparing for her trip. While Western cuisine is her specialty, she still needs to consult search engines on how to cook rice. It seems she's determined to face everything independently on this journey. Meanwhile, Yuri is out with friends at a bar, but she appears troubled, her eyes betraying a sense of unease. Her friends notice her mood and tease her, wondering if she's finally met someone special. Her friends enthusiastically pour her beer, encouraging her to drink up to loosen her tongue. Yuri doesn't hold back, chugging down the large glass. The outcome is clear. A completely wasted Yuri needs our boy to help her home. It seems her independent journey is encountering difficulties even before it begins. The night before, our boy ganged his sister had too much to drink. She clung to him affectionately, repeatedly calling his nickname, clearly completely out of it. With a command from the brown-haired man, this special showdown officially begins. The red-haired Juek fiercely charges forward, while our boy Cashin, advised by Moros, intently observes this clash of powers. Crow, on the sidelines, also seems intrigued by Juek's abilities. It's clear that the red-haired woman, Juek, is no ordinary fighter. Her combat style makes even Crow, observing from the sidelines, admit this will be an exciting match. With a begin, Juek fiercely charges forward, her massive barrel weapon poised for attack, and with a whoosh, the two combatants clash instantly. Just as Juek launched her shadow bind to subdue her opponent, she sensed something amiss behind her, and a voice from above made her look up sharply. It turned out her opponent had seized the opportunity for a surprise attack, his electric gaze now fixed on her. As Juek's attention wavered, our boy Cashin seized the chance. Moving like lightning, he delivered a powerful high kick and a devastating blow, crackling with blue electricity, striking Juek squarely, leaving her no escape. Witnessing Juek's heavy blow, the brown-haired observer let out a slight sigh, clearly regretting the one-sided outcome of the battle. As Juek crashed to the ground, a black-haired observer nearby was stunned, but our boy Cashin remained unfazed, casting only a cold glance at his defeated opponent. Then, enveloped in crackling electricity, he declared powerfully next, as if everything around him were merely a stepping stone on his path to greater strength.